Don't let unexpected expenses ruin your cruise. Stay with me as I share the insider tips to keep your budget on track. There's something here for even those of you who are, let's just say, well-seasoned cruisers. Cruising should be a relaxing experience, not a financial headache. I'm exploring the budgeting pitfalls that many travelers face and how to steer clear of them. With these insights, you can enjoy your cruise to the fullest without worrying about your wallet. And don't miss that final tip, where I uncover the secret to unlocking exclusive cruise deals that most travelers overlook. First tip, don't underestimate onboard expenses. Drinks, alcoholic drinks, sodas, specialty coffees, all of that, drinks, Wi-Fi, specialty dining, those things add up fast, and they're not usually included in your fare. They are sometimes, but how can I put this? When you go to book your cruise, if you're dealing with a travel agent, they will tell you what's included, what's not included. If you're booking it yourself, read the fine print, look through all the promos, look through every detail to see what exactly you're getting for your $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Because a lot of times they're not included. Wi-Fi is going to cost you, I don't know, $30, $50 a day. Drinks are going to cost you $60 to $100 a day for alcoholic beverages. Specialty dining, you're talking $10 to $80 per person each time you go. Figure out if that's included or not. I know that's kind of basic. Anybody who's been on a cruise at least once, but I got to talk about it. I got to make sure you know all the info. Gratuities, prepaid gratuities, or if you pay them when you're on board. Each cruise line charges a slightly different amount. They're usually in the $15 to $25 per person per day range. Okay. There's arguably two ways you can pay them. One, you prepay them before you get on the ship. Two, you pay, each day the cruise that you're on board, the cruise line will add it to your online account. I always prepay them, and I always advise my customers to prepay them. Why? Because when I get on that ship, I don't want to be worrying about, a $1,000 bill at the end of the week. I want to prepay as much of this stuff as I can, so I don't have to worry about it. Now, I know some of you are saying you don't have to pay them at all. You can have them taken off. Yes, you can. You go to guest service. If you don't prepay them, go to guest services, tell them you want it removed. They usually remove it. I don't do that. I pay the gratuities, but to each his own. Spa treatments, fitness classes, and onboard shopping. Whew, quite tempting, but pricey. I agree. There's nothing quite like getting a massage or some sort of spa treatment while you're on board. And who can pass up a knick-knack or a tchotchke or, a t-shirt? You know what you're getting into, though. Massages, $50, $100, $150. Fitness classes, $25 to $80 depending. Onboard shopping, you're not getting stuff cheap on board. Okay. Make sure you look at price tags. Make sure when you go to book these classes or the treatments, you talk to them about price. Talk to them about, is a gratuity expected? Is it included? Know what you're getting into so that, if you decide you want to do them, great. You're aware of what the price is. Now, here's a pro tip for you. Review and I mentioned this earlier, but I want to reemphasize. Review what's included in your fare before you sail. Review what's included in your fare before you sail. Don't assume it's all inclusive unless you're on certain luxury lines. Most mainstream mass market cruise lines they don't have anything remotely like all inclusive. You're paying extra for this, you're paying extra for that, you're paying extra for the other thing. So know what you're getting into. It's still, in my opinion, there's still a bargain. There's still more value than cost. But you need to know what you're getting into. And as I mentioned, prepaying for packages is going to save you money on board and stress. Like some cruise lines, like as an example, Princess has, I think they're changing the names, but as of right now, I believe it's called Plus or Premium. And I believe Plus is, off the top of my head, I want to say it's $60 per day that you're on board. And that includes basic alcohol package, Wi-Fi, and I believe your gratuities. When you add it up, that's actually not a bad price, and you get a lot of value for that. So look into that. Know what you're getting into. Next up, let's talk about not setting a short excursion budget. Excursions cost vary wildly. You're talking, a day in port could cost $30, $300, or $3,000, depending upon what you're doing and where you're getting that excursion. Ship-sponsored tours are convenient, and there is a certain amount of responsibility on the ship-sponsored tour company to ensure that you're back before ship leaves. If you book your own tour, you're on your own. You got to figure that out. Okay. So there is some value there, and they are definitely more convenient. You can book that excursion 3 months, 6 months ahead of time just by going into the website of the cruise ship. Now, you pay a premium for that. There are trusted local providers that you can find through other websites like TripAdvisor, Viator, places like that, that will be less expensive and give you just as good value, if not more. Decide in your mind what's, more important, the cost or the peace of mind of knowing that they're going to make sure you get back and you don't have to worry about it. It's up to you. Now, some ports are walkable or have free activities like, local beaches or local markets that you can walk to. Do your research, talk to your travel agent, and use those to balance out the price of your port. So if you know, like, all right, for whatever reason, you decide you have to do a day pass at Atlantis in Nassau, Bahamas. You're looking at, last time I checked, it was like $250 per person. You take your family of 4 there, that's going to sting. Now, the next day, you're going to St. Thomas or St. Martin. There's several local beaches, maybe not necessarily within walking distance, but within a $5 or $10 cab distance that you can go to and hang out at the beach for the day. So now you spent $1,000 one day and $10 the next day. Try and balance it like that so you're not spending hundreds of dollars on excursions all 4 days of, all 4 ports you're in. Another tip for you, plan ahead. Decide what your top 1 or 2 must-do excursions are. Okay. If you know you have to see the Blue Hole or, the Mexican ruins or whatever, if there's 1 or 2 things that you have to do, okay, balance that by picking low cost or budget friendly excursions in the other 1 or 2 ports. That way, instead of, you're not spending $4,000 for 4 days, you're spending $2,000 or $2,200, something like that. Wi-Fi at sea. Wi-Fi at sea is arguably a necessary evil, but is it truly necessary? Only you can decide that. For years and years before I started this channel, I didn't get Wi-Fi. I got on board the ship, I turned my phone off and put it away. Didn't use it for a week. I can't say I didn't use it. I used it as a camera. I didn't make calls with it. I didn't text. I didn't surf the web, none of that stuff. It was strictly a camera for that week. Why? Because I knew 2 things. 1, I made sure that my family that was not going on the cruise had the phone number to get a message to me on board the ship if there was an emergency, which you can still do. And 2, I needed that week to detox, to relax, to recharge. So yes, you can survive a week at sea without Wi-Fi. Now, if you need the Wi-Fi package, okay, realize a couple things. 1, it's expensive, and 2, it's slow as molasses, especially on the older ships. Check to see, you don't really have much choice depending upon your ship you're going on, but see what sales are going on, see what packages they offer. If you can bundle the Wi-Fi in with the gratuities and, some sort of drink pack or something, that sometimes will bring down the cost. If you know you're getting onboard credit for a promotion or, your whatever, if you own stock in the company, whatever, you get an onboard credit, maybe don't buy that Wi-Fi until you get on board and use that onboard credit. That way it's not coming out of your pocket. Another option is don't get the Wi-Fi, but when you're in port, find a local restaurant, bar, or whatever that has free Wi-Fi if you're, eating and drinking there, and get caught up in your messages, on the free Wi-Fi. That way it's not costing you anything, but you still get access to it a couple of times. Now, as we head into, middle of 2025 and into 2026, the ships are upgrading their Wi-Fi. Several of the cell phone carriers are starting to come out with options where you, for just a couple of extra bucks, arguably, you can get phone and Wi-Fi while you're on the ship instead of being charged thousands of dollars for roaming. So there are options that are starting to make it easier and more affordable to have Wi-Fi while you're on board. Now, if you use this one judiciously, but if you only need internet every now and then, skip the plan and just get, get a la carte access, get, like by the minute. If all you got to do is once a day log in and check this one email account and log right back out again, then, it's going to cost you a couple dollars a minute. So, you spend $15, you get to check that email and then be done with it. Just some options for you. Overdoing specialty dining. Now, I mentioned specialty dining and the cost of it earlier, talking, the $8 to $88, $8 to $150 per person per restaurant. If that's your thing, go for it. Have a blast. I'm not telling you not to. If you're trying to stay within a budget for this cruise, that could be something that you can decide whether it's worth it or not. To me, main dining rooms, most ships still have main dining rooms. There are a couple that don't, but I like the main dining room. I like that whole experience. I've always found the food at worst to be adequate, and there are times where it's amazing. I get to know my waiters get to know me so that they know what I like and what I don't like. So I don't usually have bad experiences there, but I'm also very happy to sit there for an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes to enjoy the entire main dining room experience. So I'm not rushing, okay? Main dining room is included. The buffet is included. Now, I'm not saying eat at the buffet 3 squared 7 days you're there, okay? The food's not that good in the buffet. There are some buffets that are decent, but if you were trying to, not blow a financial gasket, look into try the main dining room. Experience it for a couple of nights. Don't just go one night and say, oh, no, it's awful. Go 2, 3, 4 nights so they can get to know you and they get to know your likes and dislikes and what you're drinking, what you're not drinking, what food, if you bring your kids, what food they like to eat. Then decide. Maybe try 1 or 2 specialty dinings while you're there, but not every single night is kind of what I'm trying to say. If you do want to try some of the specialty dining restaurants, some of them are open for lunch and they have a somewhat limited menu compared to the regular dinner menu, but a lot of times those lunches are included. So check that out. Some specialty dining restaurants have discounts on embarkation night because not as many people go to specialty dining that first night for whatever reason. Now, luxury lines, that's a whole different ball of wax. A lot of times they include specialty dining into their cruise fare. Basically, that's kind of a differentiator. It gives more value. Yes, you're paying a higher price tag, but you're getting X, Y, and Z included. Don't forget about, and this is something even seasoned cruisers tend to not think really about. Don't forget about those pre and post cruise costs. If you live in the northern part of the country and you're cruising out of the southern part of the U.S., i.e., Florida, even like San Diego and LA, if you're on the West Coast, you got to get a flight there. What's that cost? You need, transfers from airport to the cruise line. If you're, I'm just going to say it, if you're smart, you're going to fly in the day before and get a hotel. So you need to transfer from airport to hotel to cruise line. You need the cost of the hotel. You need the cost of the meals. There are extra costs involved there. Okay. Plan for them, budget for them. I'm not saying fly in the day of your cruise so you can avoid those extra costs, because then you're potentially, screwed out of your cruise due to delays, cancellations, all that good stuff. Okay. For, the peace of mind that you get from spending, $100, $200 on a hotel room to get there the day ahead, to me, that's well worth it. Look for cruise and stay packages. Cruise lines and hotels that are near cruise ports, they'll have, cruise lines do the cruise and stay packages, obviously, but a lot of the hotels that are near cruise ports, they have package deals where you spend the night there and you get free transportation to the cruise line, and sometimes even cruise line to airport after the fact, things like that. Do some research. Talk to your friendly neighborhood travel agent. If they've got any kind of skills, they're going to know about these and get you the best deal possible. Use your hotel points. Use your cash back points from your credit card to save on some of those costs. Next up, exchanging money at the wrong time. So if you're obviously, 90% of the time when you're cruising, you're leaving the United States and cruising to foreign countries. Okay. Now, if you're cruising to the Caribbean, don't worry about exchanging money. 95% of the Caribbean accepts the US dollar. They're happy to take the dollar. So just make sure you have some small bills. If you're going to other places like Japan, like Australia, the Med, you're going to have to exchange because they don't take US dollars. Suggestion: don't use the onboard ATM. 2 things. 1, the exchange rate is awful and they have high fees. Don't exchange your dollars in the port when you get there, because same thing, you're going to get a bad rate. My suggestion is one of 2 things or some of both. Okay. Go to your, wherever you live, find a currency exchange near you and go there and get yourself the equivalent of maybe, $100 worth of yen or won or French I can't even think of what the French money's called, but whatever countries you're going to, get $50 to $100 worth of their currency. That way you don't have to exchange money when you're on board, or once you're there. You've got it done in advance. You don't have a whole lot, and if you need to spend more than that, use credit cards. A lot of credit cards do not charge foreign transaction fees. Some do, a couple of percent, but even that couple of percent, to me, is better to spend that than to get stuck with all of this foreign currency or get screwed with a really bad exchange rate. There's a couple of apps like Revolut and Wise. They can help you manage that currency and avoid exchange scams. If you do have to use an ATM while you're out of the country, do a little research and find out whatever bank you use. Try and find out who they're partnered with, what bank in that country they're partnered with, because a lot of times you'll be able to use that bank's partner's ATM with lower fees. Not necessarily free, but lower fees. Impulse buying while on board. They're going to entice you with, what is it? $1 an inch gold and t-shirts 2 for $20. And, they're going to have sales and last minute deals and all that stuff. Control yourself. Know your prices. If you want to buy on board, buy on board. But like alcohol, watches, jewelry, souvenirs, all that stuff's marked up. Period. End of story. They're trying to make a profit on it. Even their sale price is profitable. Now, it could still be a good deal for you. We were on a cruise a couple of years ago, and at the time we were drinking a lot of, what type? It was a type of vodka, a decent vodka, not anything great. Oh, Absolute. And, $7.50 of Absolute here was $30. Give or take. On board, I was getting 3 for $50. Okay, so I decided to buy it. Now, if you're buying alcohol, if you're buying tobacco, know the immigration rules as far as how much you can bring back without incurring additional costs, taxes. Also, if you're flying, think about how are you going to transport that alcohol back to your home state. A lot of times we drive, so that's not an issue for us. But know your pricing ahead of time and don't just splurge because it's there and it says it's on sale. Talk about it with your significant other, your spouse, the family, whoever's going, and set a shopping budget before you sail while you're calm and you're rational. Say, hey, you know what? This trip, we got $100 we can blow on board. We got $50, we got $200, and don't go over that no matter what happens, because it's really easy to buy things while you're on board because you're not giving them money. You're not even giving them a credit card. You're signing a receipt because they don't take credit cards or cash on board. Everything gets charged to your onboard account, as you know. Now, this is probably the one and only time that I'm going to advocate spending money, and it's buying travel insurance. Do not, please, for the love of all that is good and holy, do not ever travel without travel insurance. Yes, I know it costs money. Yes, 99 times out of 100, you're not going to ever use it, and you wasted that money. But you know what? The one time when you're on a 16-day tour of Ireland, and on day 1 you step outside and you break your foot, and you have to be transported to the hospital, stabilized, flown home, and undergone surgery within 48 hours, and you're out without insurance. You'd be out $7,000 plus all those medical expenses. This is a true story. This happened to my mom's friend after I booked her trip. Get the travel insurance. Even if you only do the bare minimum cruise line travel insurance, get it. It's worth every penny of it. If the trip gets canceled, if they lose your luggage, if there are delays in your flights and you miss embarkation, there are so many things that could potentially happen. Don't be that person that calls me up. And unfortunately, this happens every other month. Calls me up a day, 2 days before they're supposed to leave, whether it be a cruise or wherever they're going. Hey, Eric, my aunt passed away, or my son is sick and I can't leave. I know I didn't get travel insurance. What can I do? And 9 times out of 10, all I can do is say, I'm sorry, but you've lost everything. You've lost all the money you spent. Don't be that person. Don't, please. I'm not going to beat that one too much. Mix it. Now, this is the secret that I mentioned. Missing out on exclusive cruise deals. So there's a couple of ways that you can get deals on cruises, okay? 1, join the cruise line loyalty programs and their email lists. A lot of times, the more you cruise on one cruise line, the sooner you're going to hear about deals, and sometimes the better, once you get pretty senior, the better deals you're going to get. You're also going to get last minute deals that, if you're somewhat flexible with time off and work and everything, where they have a couple of extra rooms available on a cruise that leaves in the next 96 hours. If you can jump on that, you're going to save some money. Next way, use a travel advisor. A lot of times we have access to group pricing, onboard credits, upgrades, special promotions, things that the general public can't get access to. Next, and arguably, I think next, book at the right time. Wave season is which is basically January to March. For whatever reason, and I don't know the history of it, but for whatever reason, the travel industry decided January to March is when they're going to arguably put out their best deals of the entire year. In general, start looking in December for where you want to cruise and when you want to cruise, and then come January, reach out to your travel agent and say, hey, we want to go on this cruise line, this ship, around this date. Start looking for deals and let me know what you can find. The other way to do it is 12 to 18 months out from your cruise. Book it then, because cruise lines are moving away from that last minute low price model, and they're moving more into giving better deals over a year in advance of the cruise. Because if you think about it, if 12 months out, they're already at 80% occupancy, they've covered their costs. Now, anything that's booked after that is arguably pure profit. So now they're going to start to raise prices when they know that they're already got their costs covered, that kind of thing. Arguably, this does work, not as much as it used to, but repricing your cruise. So if you keep an eye on your cruise, or if you work with me as your travel agent, I keep an eye on your cruise and the promos that are going on. And, there are times where I've been able to reprice the cruise, the booking for customers. And arguably, basically what I have to do is I have to call and cancel and rebook. But a lot of times they'll honor the deposit details. But, a couple of times I've been able to save customers, $300, $400, $500 because there's a new promo going on that was a significant discount. So keep an eye on the prices. You never know. There are cruise price tracking apps and, website, Cruise Watch, Cruise Sheet, where, like I said, find yourself a good travel agent and they'll do it for you. Remember, a little planning does go a long way. The best cruises aren't the most expensive. They're the ones where you get the most value. Now that you know how to master your cruise budget, you're going to need to know how to unlock the best entertainment on board. Because if you don't, you could waste your precious vacation time stuck in the same old routines. Hello, Elio. While unforgettable shows, secret events, and once-in-a-cruise experiences pass you by without you even knowing it. I'm going to show you exactly how to avoid missing out in this next video.